This video is intended for listening only. Close your eyes, relax, and let the story unfold. He thought it was just another night after a show until his friend dared someone to hide in the wardrobe. What followed was a haunting encounter with a white-haired old woman who crouched in corners, always watching. This story was told by DJ Leo, who never expected that a night's rest at a budget apartment would scar him for weeks. It happened about 9 years ago. Leo, a DJ, constantly traveling to perform at clubs, often found himself exhausted after shows. On this occasion, he was accompanied by his crew, Ewan, the MC, and Thuy, his assistant. They needed a place to stay near their gig in Aom Noi, Nakhon Pratom, Thailand. None of them could drive, and their driver was unavailable. Out of necessity, they chose a cheap serviced apartment close to the venue. The building was old, located by a main road near a busy intersection. From the outside, it looked like any other aging Bangkok apartment block. Cracked paint, dim yellow lights, and stray dogs sleeping by the entrance. Inside, the atmosphere grew heavier. The narrow corridors smelled of cigarette smoke and damp plaster. The fluorescent bulbs buzzed faintly, some flickering as though about to burn out. The rooms for daily rental were on the second to fourth floors. The room Leo received was windowless, musty, furnished with a sagging sofa, and worst of all, it allowed smoking inside. In the corner stood a crude wardrobe, little more than thin wooden boards nailed together with a metal rod for hangers, a makeshift closet they jokingly called the Phantom Wardrobe. That night, after finishing his DJ set, Leo returned to his room and collapsed onto the bed without showering. He was too tired to notice anything. Meanwhile, Ewan and Thuy occupied separate rooms. Restless, they decided to play around. The hallways were quiet, too quiet, amplifying every sound. Ewan, half drunk, dared Thuy to hide inside the Phantom Wardrobe. Thuy stepped in casually, laughing at the childish game. But in that same instant, Ewan froze. Through the crack in the door, he swore he saw something crouched behind Thuy, a frail old woman, tiny and hunched, with long white hair covering most of her face. Her bony hands clutched the wooden boards, her eyes wide and unblinking. Terrified, Ewan begged Thuy to leave, but Thuy, seeing nothing, dismissed it as drunken nonsense. They argued, but in the end, Ewan had no choice but to stay the night. Later, lying in bed, he covered himself with a thin, tattered blanket. Moments later, he felt the blanket tugging downward from his legs. Something was pulling it off him. He shouted in fear, only for Ewan to hush him. "Stop it, it's late, we're drunk," Ewan muttered. But both men barely slept, listening to faint scratching noises from the corner where the wardrobe stood. Morning came. Around 10:30 a.m., Leo woke to shower. He discovered the bathroom door had no lock. The room was already cold, so he dragged a half-filled plastic water barrel against the door to block drafts. He turned his back to the door, rinsing himself under the shower. Suddenly, the heavy door creaked open, just a sliver, less than a hand's width. A chill rushed his side. Looking into the bathroom mirror, Leo froze. Reflected behind him was an old woman, squatting low, her white hair spilling forward, her eyes staring straight into his. He panicked, rushing through a half rinse, grabbing a towel, yanking the barrel away. As he stumbled out, he heard footsteps scurrying across the room. Something darted into the Phantom Wardrobe. The metal hangers inside rattled violently and clattered to the floor. Leo shoved his belongings into his bag, messy and rushed, completely unlike his usual meticulous packing. His hand shook so badly he dropped his phone twice. He bolted from the room. Downstairs, he ran into Ewan and Thuy. He and Ewan locked eyes and without hesitation said the same words. "You saw her too, didn't you?" Both men had encountered the same figure, the hunched old woman with white hair, a presence that never revealed herself directly but always peered from corners, crouched low, watching. Shaken, they returned the keys without a word to the receptionist. But when Leo started his car, the engine failed. The battery seemed dead, though it had never given trouble before. After repeated tries and whispered prayers, the car finally roared to life. They left the place in silence, refusing to discuss what happened until they were far away. For 2 weeks after, Leo remained haunted by the memory. He offered alms at the temple, yet still felt her eyes on him. Ewan admitted he couldn't shake the fear for almost a month. Some nights he dreamed of waking in the dark, only to see her crouched at the end of his bed. They both still referred to her by the same name, Grandma in the Closet. Even today, whenever they pass that decrepit apartment building, the memory resurfaces. The facade is cracked, the windows dusty, yet some rooms are still offered for daily rental. Locals whisper that guests rarely stay long. Some check in during the afternoon, only to leave in the middle of the night, pale and trembling. They say the old woman's spirit has grown stronger over time, powerful enough to disturb even in broad daylight. Cleaning staff avoid the second-floor corridor, claiming to hear whispering from inside locked rooms. Before returning the key, Leo looked back one final time. The wardrobe door was slightly ajar. Through the narrow crack, he swore he saw an eye staring straight at him, unblinking, waiting. And to this day, he says he can still feel her presence whenever he stands too close to a darkened corner. If you enjoyed this true Thai horror story, subscribe to Tale After Dark for more chilling tales every week.